Hi guys, my name is Matteo02 and today I'm going to show you guys how to draw a manga page. So first of all, let's talk about the materials that we need for this manga page. And right here is one of my pages for my manga I've already drawn on. So let's start off with our pens. So these are our micron pens, Sakura microns. You can find these at your local Michaels or art stores probably, if you can't find a Michaels nearby, or you can buy them online. Next thing we're going to use is a basic ruler. You can use a wooden one, you can use a metal one, it's really up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with. Personally, I like a metal ruler because it's more simple to use for me and it's more cleaner. The next material we're going to use is black ink. Now you guys can find black ink pretty much almost anywhere. I mean, you can go to Walmart, Michaels, any art supply store. And if you want some real professional ink they use for manga, the best thing to do is just go buy it online, or you can go to a manga store if there's any nearby. So those are pretty good materials to use. Our next material is if you want to dabble in calligraphy pens, there is the leader pen, and this is what I use. I got this at Comic-Con, for those of you who are wondering where I got it from, but I'm pretty sure you can just buy one of these online. So this is a good inking tool. The next item that we're going to have here is our eraser. It's very important to have one of these because after you're done inking, you want to make sure you erase all those pencil marks. So always have that next to you, and preferably get one that is a bit bulkier than your typical usual pencil, because this can erase a lot more. Next thing we're going to use is this permanent marker. I just got this permanent marker at Walmart, but any good permanent cheap marker would work. You don't have to be too expensive with what you have, so anything is pretty good as far as permanent marker. Even Sharpies are good, so we're going to also use that to fill in. I also have a Copic thick marker, wide marker. I got this at Michael's, so that's also a pretty good inking tool for those really big inking areas. Alright, so now I want to talk to you guys about this the pen nib that goes with my deleter pen, and that is the G pen, as you can kind of see there. Yeah, so the G pen is really good for manga pages, especially if you want to get some thick lines or some thin lines. This is very flexible in what you can do with it as far as thickness and lines, so I highly recommend this, but do not just jump into it. Make sure that you guys practice a lot with it on paper. As for you guys, so you guys can see, is that I'm folding this paper because I'm going to use this paper to ink on my manga paper, because this is going to help me to put my my hand on, so I can lean my hand against it so that I don't get any smudges on my paper, so that it's nice and clean, and it's cheaper than getting manga gloves. I see a lot of people in Japan videos use manga gloves. I think that's what they're called, but gloves to make sure that they don't get their pages dirty. Okay guys, so I'm gonna get started on this page, but first things first, I gotta explain to you guys what I'm gonna do with the vid. So first thing I'm doing is I'm gonna start drawing on it, but inking and stuff, but if you guys see me time-lapse a lot, it's because I don't want to go through the whole video and have you guys watch a 20-minute video, so I'll be going right through it pretty quickly, but I will stop at moments to explain myself on certain things I do, so maybe you guys could kind of understand my techniques of doing things. So here we go. Alright guys, so here's the first thing I'm going to do. I like to usually start inking my lines first on the panels. So what I'm first doing is using a ruler on the panels to make sure my lines are straight, and I'm using special paper for this. I'm using some manga paper, and on the manga paper it's got lines on each side, so that makes sure that if you do use a ruler, the lines are straight. But in this case the lines are kind of crooked because that's the style of paneling I decided to do. So that's what I'm doing now. And for those of you wondering, is most manga artists would first do the bubbles, which I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll do the bubbles first. I'll ink them. I probably would recommend people to first ink the bubbles, because some of the bubbles do go out of the panels, and you don't want to do the panel then do the bubble, unless you're gonna do Manga Studio and you're just gonna add the bubbles on later on. Then it doesn't really matter where the bubbles are. They could just be drawn on there just to kind of help you know where your bubbles are supposed to be. Alright, now that I'm done with the lines, I'm going to move on to my first panel. It doesn't really matter what panels you kind of start off with inking. It's really up to the artist on which panels to start off with, but I just kind of like to start off from the top. You know, just kind of go in order and start off with what's first to what's last. So for this technique, now I'm not switching to my microns, I'm switching over to my G pen, because I prefer inking characters with my G pen. So I'm going to move on to that. Okay guys, so I stopped right here because even though I'm still working on the page, if you notice I made a little mistake right there. See that little splosh of ink right there? Well, what happened was my finger rubbed against the ink when the ink wasn't dry yet. So you got to be very careful with these kind of things when you're inking. Always make sure that your hands aren't just on the paper. Make sure that you have that little side paper maybe a little bit covering those kind of areas, because if the paper's on it, there's still kind of a chance of smudge, but there's a greater chance of not smudging because it's not your hand per se, so the paper won't move as much. So be careful, but hey, it's not the end of the world, because if you have a program like Manga Studio, or if you just have whiteout, you could just white out that inking part and just redo it again. But you don't have to do it with a G pen if you don't want to. You could just do it with your normal pen so that it's more precise. So that's an easy way to fix those kind of mistakes. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I just want you to know that this is the end of this page. I'm going to make another video on how to fill in the areas with black, and also toning. So that'll be the next video I post up for this, and thank you so much for watching. And for those of you that don't know, I actually do have my own manga already up on mangamagazine.com. I'm going to leave a link below. It's called Inaho, and I also have a Facebook page and a DeviantArt. So I'll leave those links below, and please subscribe to the video, leave a comment, let me know what else you guys would like to learn, and what kind of videos you'd like. Well, thanks so much. Bye.